Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden throne, but I'm a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now, a little stronger now, a little stronger now, a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Late Night. Late Night. This is the place to be. Midnight on Saturday, 11 o'clock Central. You have a great show in store for everybody. I finally got Krista and Brandy back together for tonight. You know, we also have Monica who's off for the next 2 weeks. So it's the first time that the three of us have been together on this show. I'm excited about that. We're going to talk a little curses tonight. That's right, curses. And I'm excited about this. Thanks to everybody for coming on in. If you're new here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Mission Rob on YouTube, The Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast on YouTube, Texas Front Porch on YouTube, Paranormal Paul on YouTube, Donnie Show Says Stuff, Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World. Thank you so much. I don't give out the times we're on like 7 days a week. So what I've been saying the last several months, about 7% of you, that's right, 7%, have your alert bells on. Listen, turn on the alert bell. You won't miss a single show, live or otherwise. Alert bells. Also like. It does help promote the analytics on YouTube to help us, grow our channels. And that's really what we're all about, to grow everybody together. So thank you. And also thank you for everybody buying my books. And Bigfoot Mystery Rob presents True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1 and Book 2. Book 1 has been out for a year and 3 months. Book 2, 3 months. All you need to do is type Bigfoot Michigan Rob in your Amazon browser. Leave a review if you bought the book. Thank you so much if you did. And, of course, subscribe to us. You can find us on all podcast platforms, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, wherever they're at. You know all the podcasts. We're on like 50 of them. So if you don't want to watch the live video or the live show, you can catch us in your car driving on your way to work or going to grandmother's for Christmas or Thanksgiving, which is coming pretty soon. So thank you for that. And I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to bring up my two lovelies. We got Krista.
Hey.
Hello. And we got Brandy.
Hi, everybody.
I think it's been a minute since. Well, we almost had Monica. The four of us. I don't think it's. We all have things to do, and I get it. That's why I have four of us, so we can alternate days off. We have busy lives, and so it's cool to see you two on a Saturday at midnight.
Right? It's fun. I like these shows.
Right?
It's fun.
Yep.
Yeah, last night I was feeling a little bit under the weather, and I had been for a few days. And Krista and I kind of figured out from the week before when we did the investigation at Ray County Museum that we may have caught something.
Yeah.
And so, it's taken me a little bit. I mean, I'm feeling better every day, but
My days are up and down. So this is just
Yeah.
sickness.
Well, I got to tell you guys something. My days are up and down because I always bitch about the weather on all my shows because that's what I do. I guess I noticed. I watched a few shows.
You're a weather
I'm like,
bitcher.
Rob, you always bitch about the weather and stuff like that. I'm like, geez, oh, Pete's Rob. But again, I was on a show. I was on Andy Decode's Alien 8 UK. Go check that out. Freaky has the link if you guys want to check that out later. And during that show, you guys, my right nostril, my nose, started getting stuffed up, and I noticed from going inside, 65 degrees one day, 30 degrees, within
too.
5 hours. I mean, I don't believe. I always thought that was a myth that the weather affects your sinuses. I'm beginning to think that it probably does have an effect.
Especially when you get older.
Well,
I was going to say it's old timers problems.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Talking about the weather. It's old people do that, don't they?
I know, right? Weather and food. Old people talk about weather and food.
They talk about well, we talk about food no matter what.
That's what I'm saying.
And old people also talk about traffic.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe this or that or the other. My buddy always talks about. He calls me. I tell you guys all the time. My buddy always bitches about traffic. Always calls me when he's stuck in traffic, and I'm like this with my phone. I put my phone down and walk 50 feet away to go to the bathroom. He's still bitching about the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't even know I wasn't there.
Yep. I gotcha.
Come on.
You know what else old people talk about? We talked about this on Paranormal Pulse. That's why I know we're old. About our joints, like Kimber and the last one, do you know how to turn over in bed without hurting? I was like, that's a good point because I do that. It hurts.
Well, I gotta tell you.
Or you get that cramp in your leg.
There you go.
Oh boy, in the
In your
morning
foot.
you can't move because you're in pain.
Right.
I get a cramp usually in my calf muscle every once in a while.
Yep.
But I gotta tell you, talking about getting older, I have we all have beds that we sleep in, and I gotta tell you guys, my bed's so big that I move around all over the place, and it seems like after a while I was getting very sore from simply tossing and turning in my bed. So what I experimented with? I've been sleeping in a lazy boy recliner, which confines me only to one position.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you guys, I got the best sleep ever. I do not, I don't. And yeah, I'm just, I'm laying on my back, but I can recline it where I'm pretty much laying down, right? But I can't move left. I can't move right. My feet are propped up. I got cool comforters. And the only problem I have sometimes, like you said, Brandy, in the morning, oh my gosh, my ankle or my calf muscle is cramped. I can't get out,
Gosh, we are so old. And thank you, Mary, for that.
Thank you, Mary.
Y'all, thank you so much. You guys, the super chat is a great way to help support what we do and become a BMR pirate if you choose to. Join today. All right, thanks, Mary.
Yeah. So
I'm going to have to say this, though, and I got to say it real quick. Rob, I do have a big bed, and I sleep in probably less than a single bed part. So I'm way over on one side, and I don't move. And I think that may be my problem because I don't move, and everything just kind of stiffens up.
you don't flail around like I do.
No,
You know,
I kind of stay there.
back when I was married, back in the day, sleeping with the wife, she was really getting mad at me because she would wake up with bruises on her, on her from me, and I literally have thrown out punches.
Wow.
You know, hey, listen, I had this is not too long ago. I was in the recliner. I had my phone in my hand, right? And I was listening to a podcast. I always listen to podcasts before I go to bed. Typically, I turn off the TV, so I'll put it on my phone. And I woke up the next morning and I'm looking for my phone because I normally put it on the table to my right. And I'm like, where in the hell is my phone? I remember having it in my hand, and that was my mistake because when I woke up, I found my phone flung halfway across the room. And listen to this one. I don't know how this happened. It was on a channel that was monetized. A person I don't give money to. I just like the show. It must have hit.
I remember you telling me this.
It hit like gifted memberships. I ended up spending like $80 in gifted memberships. I'm like, and you can't refund that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got stuck with a channel I don't really watch. $80.
That's hilarious. I remember you telling me that. You know, it's probably a good thing you're a single guy. Just saying.
Oh boy. Well, when I was married, I had a special account that the wife didn't know about.
I'm talking your sleeping habits.
Oh, okay. Well, that too. I
That's
thought
what I was
about
talking
the money.
about. Like,
Yeah, no, my sleeping habits, the wife would be black and blue.
that's what I'm saying.
You know, and I'd be kicked out of bed. I actually was kicked out of bed a few times from the wife for like, what's your problem, dude? I'm like, what do you mean? Look at this. You know, I'm like, what? You walk into a door or something? That's you, dumbass.
Yep.
So,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. For me,
You know?
I mean, I don't even know why I have a bed that big. I don't need it for number one. I could sleep in a twin bed and be absolutely
Yeah.
perfect.
Well,
You
yeah.
know,
Well,
I share my bed with too many pillows, my remotes and my phone,
I
and
don't move either.
the other side of the bed is my end table. You know what I mean? I just put my glasses over there. It's just everything goes over there. I don't know.
oh, my glasses. That's another thing. You know, I wear glasses. You know, I take out my contacts late at night. I put on my glasses. I found my glasses clear across the room.
Oh shit.
One time, the arm of one of my glasses was busted off. Yeah. I mean, that takes either I
Wow.
gunned it against the wall so fiercely that it busted, or I just, grabbed it and crunched it in my hand.
Wow.
Right? Well,
Yeah.
that was kind of like I was telling Krista. I was getting ready for a show. This is kind of on the same thing. I was getting
Yeah.
ready for a show, and I went and got in the shower. Did all my stuff, and as I was getting out of the shower, I heard something fall on the floor in the bedroom. So I walk out, and it's my phone there. My phone was sitting on my end table, and it had been sitting there for like 40 minutes. I don't have the ringer on. I never have my ringer on. I never have it on vibrate because that just irritates me. So I always have my ringer off, and it still wasn't on.
Thanks, Maggie.
And it just falls 40 minutes after I've gotten up and left the room.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that is strange.
I was like, oh, awesome.
Well, here's another thing too. Before we
Thank
really
you,
get
Maggie.
in, I love you, Maggie. Thank you. Before we really get started with the show, right? Like we always BS in the beginning. I'm really an advocate of sleeping in the recliner, though. I love it. I haven't slept in the bed now for well over a month. But the one problem I do find I have, since you are now the recliner is there's room to wiggle. I can go, 8 inches to the right or the left or whatever. It's kind of sizable. But I find though that your arms are kind of really either you go like this, or you put them on the rests on the arms, or you just put them on your side.
Mhm.
But I find being in that position for like 6 hours sleep or however long you sleep, my hands will be tingling and numb. One day, you guys, my right hand was numb, tingling. and I had to work it out. But both my feet, I had the cramp I had the cramp in the calf, and both my feet were numb, and I had to take a pee. So listen, I get I kind of I get the recliner back where it's supposed to be, and I go to get up with two numb feet, and I couldn't feel the floor, and I fell forward and almost crashed into my TV.
That's pretty bad, Rob.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
You know what they tell us, elderly people? Give yourself a minute to wake up before you get up.
Yeah, but boy, I had to go. I'm not that age where it depends yet, and boy, I had to go.
Hey, just because you don't wear Depends doesn't mean a thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
If you have to get up in the middle of the night to go pee, you're old. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, you do.
That's
I
right.
get up, man. Well, if I get up and pee, I notice it's always 4:00 in the morning. And I do have a bottle of water next to where I sleep because I get dry mouth. I don't sleep through my nose. I breathe through my mouth. So my mouth always gets dry. So I usually drink a full bottle of water throughout the night.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wake up and gun it, go back to sleep. Yeah, no, I did not have those problems in my 20s, my 30s, even my 40s. When I hit that golden age of 50, all hell broke loose.
I hear you. I'm with you on that.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, man.
Oh, my goodness. Well, someone in chat, I think it was P. Jean, said magnesium spray in the bottom of your feet works wonders.
Okay, well.
Yep.
I've never tried that. I've never tried it.
Yeah, but that's a great idea, and it's something that I'm too late. I'm gonna spray it about my feet before I go to bed. I don't even know when I fall asleep half the time.
Well, just do it, but when you sit down, you're like, I might as well just do this now, get it over with.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's true.
Done and be ready to go.
After you made the last trip to the bathroom.
Yeah, and I try to put that off too. But it's like clockwork, you guys. Right around 4 in the morning, I'm up, and then typically, I'm back up by 6, and I'm up. That's another old person thing. They're up at the crack of dawn. I'm like, man, I want to sleep in as much as I can. I find myself getting up earlier, and it don't matter what time I went to bed.
Right. And I usually, in the old people problem is sleeping, taking naps, and I do that. I mean, I've got a weird work schedule.
Yeah, well,
I have
blame you for that.
I don't even have a weird work schedule. I still take naps. So you're right. That is a sign of being old.
Right.
I don't take naps either, but I must admit to this a couple times in this past couple months. It'd be 3 in the afternoon. I'm not working or doing nothing, so I'm kind of watching whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then before you know it, I open my eyes. It's 5 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I fell asleep for 2 hours. You old guy, you know.
Well, Riley Ron said, "Let's talk about some spooky stories."
Well,
those are spooky stories. I'm sorry.
Getting old is spooky, Ron. Ron, it's spooky. We always do our warm up on Saturday night. Just kick back, relax, and we try to have a little fun instead of getting right into the serious business. But we got some spooky stuff, and
we do.
I want to talk a little about these curses. Werewolf curses, Dogman. Skinwalkers.
Thank you,
so much, T-Bone. Good to see T-Bone back in action. I appreciate you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
So curses, right? And you can get curses. They're put on you, baby, by witchcraft, black magic, and spells, and I came across the thing I'm gonna relate to you guys about First Nations spells back in the 17 and 1800s, and I do have a pretty cool Michigan Dogman encounter that I got that I'm gonna tell a little bit later. But before I get into that, you guys, whoever wants to go, what are some of the, and let's talk about being out in the field, in the paranormal, or whatever you guys do. Have you come across any research or investigations where you think that maybe the person's problems are the result of a spell or a hex cast on them or their home or their property?
I mean, could be. The only thing that, the one that I thought might have been cursed, it was elementals. So I'm not too sure about that. But the only like really cursed land that I can think of, and Brandy and I actually kind of seen this in the works, was the Bell Witch Cave. Remember that night in Groves? And so, they say that's cursed, even like people like walking in there and even the dirt on their shoes, like people like get rid of their shoes and stuff because of the cursed land. So that's a big one that I can think of. What, can you think of any others, Brandy, off the top of your hand?
No, I honestly, I've never been to somewhere where I thought that the land was absolutely cursed. I just can't think of it. I mean, a lot of it I would think is that the people themselves have manifested a lot of it. I mean, if they start off with, just a minor haunting, and I'm not saying that these things didn't happen because I've witnessed a lot of it, but they little things that happen in a haunting, and then next thing you know, they get upset, nervous, anxious, the anxiety kicks in, panic, and then next thing you know, this turns into a mountain.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to answer Riley's question real quick. He says, is that Bell Witch movie real where the scene ends with the camera falling? It's actually Blair Witch, and that is not a real life. No.
Yeah, I saw the Blair Witch. And
it's fake.
When I first
Bell
saw
Witch is true. Bell Witch is an area over in Tennessee, and that
is definitely a spooky story. Yes.
Yeah, I think we talked about that before, and that is very, went all the way back to like the Civil War and prior, way before that even.
Yeah.
And that was a spooky.
Yeah, and Heather Mosier from Small Town Monsters, she's done extensive research on that place, and actually we've talked about it on our show. I probably even talked about it on your show with her.
Well, we did. I was going to say we did.
Yeah.
Well, Krista, tell the story because we were in the LBL with Martin Groves, and he was telling us all about the Bell Witch. Tell everybody what happened.
So it's just weird. It was just really weird. And he was talking about, because he had worked some security over there. And we were just literally talking about it, like talking about ghost stuff. And I kid you not, Brandy is my witness, our witness. There was a log that actually fell on his ankle and he broke, I don't remember exactly what bone, but he broke something in his ankle that night. And that is a true story. A log fell out of the fire. Not that it like was just sitting where it was going to fall off. It literally came out of the fire onto his ankle.
Yep. Yep. It should have not come out of the fire. It should have not come out of there.
And that was, and we were just having a casual conversation. We weren't even talking anything negative or just talking about it, Yeah. So let's switch the subject and go on to something else now that I told the story.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Well,
get off of that.
Yeah.
I don't need anything else bad happening. Thanks.
Because that's true. I mean, that is honest to God true story. And, we witnessed that. And there was, I don't know, probably about 10 people there that night. And we all witnessed it.
Right.
And I totally believe it. 100%.
Yep.
Because it was just actually out of all the people that were there, it was just me, Krista, and Martin Grove sitting at that campfire. It was just the three of us sitting there. Everybody else was up and they were around, but they were not sitting there.
Yeah.
So it was just very, very strange.
It was
very strange.
That is strange, man. I'd have loved to have been there. But then again, you know me. I mean, oh my God.
We were kind of like freaking out about it, honestly. Like, wow, what are the chances? That was just weird.
And it's funny. We've all come across, all the three of us, we've seen weird stuff, spooky stuff, stuff that we can't process, and we're like, then when you get home and you think back what happened, it freaks out even more, because when you're in the moment, we have our adrenaline going and we're into it because that's our thing. But then when you have time to let it settle in and think back, you're like, holy cow, that was really odd. You know what I mean? And anyway, so Wexford, Michigan, there's where I live. I had my encounter in Wexford, and of course, it took place in the Manistee National Forest, right? And the Manistee National Forest, it encompasses the entire state of Michigan. If 3 hours north where I live, it goes from Lake Michigan to Lake Huron, right across the whole top of the state before you get to the bridge, right? And I was talking to a friend of mine about my encounter, and said, man, you look into cursed lands in Manistee, and I did, and there are cursed lands in Manistee. A lot of it that was cast on in 1700s, 1800s from First Nations, Indian tribal nations. And again, when I say this, I'm going to read something that I found, which is going to be the preamble into this story. First of all, BMR has friends. I have friends that are First Nations people, right, and Indians, and I love them as much as I love the fellow white bread American, right? Yep. Or any human being, I should say. Wow, 2-month member. Thanks, Mary. So, but I came across this because I'm really into my state, and I started looking up cursed legends and curses cast on. And and I've heard there's sections of the Manistee Forest that is definitely cursed. So I came across this, and I'm going to read this to you guys, and then it's going to lead into what I'm going to tell you guys. And it says here, a Native American curse in the Manistee National Forest by the Anishinaabe tribes in the 1700s stated. Now, this was a curse set upon by the elders for white men from stealing their land here in the state of Michigan many, many, many moons ago. And the curse went on, and he says this, his words by this tribal leader: may the filthy spot on which your altars stand be destroyed. May your crops be failures and your homes be dilapidated. May your dead be disturbed in their graves and be persecuted and watched over by that of the wolf. And may your land become a feeding place for the fishes.
Wow.
So, it's kind of creepy, huh?
It is. I do. I absolutely believe
So that's menacing, and that was an alleged curse put on the state of Michigan, the Manistee National Forest. Now, what I'm about to talk about takes place in the Manistee National Forest of Michigan. And so I was talking to this lady. She sent me an email. Her name is Sarah. Sarah went to lived in Michigan. She went to Michigan State University and graduated in 2005, and she got her degree was in journalism. So Sarah's ambition in life was to be a journalist, an investigative reporter, or maybe get lucky one day and be behind the news desk on TV. Yeah, but she was really into the investigative aspect. And she was telling me that one of her favorite investigative journalists was George Knapp. And now George Knapp was claimed to fame in the 70s when he got this story from John Lear of the Learjet Corporation, okay, back in the day before he became a billionaire, told him about UFOs and aliens that he's encountered while traveling in space, not space, but in planes, right? And so George, very skeptical guy, did not believe whatsoever in UFOs, but until he heard this story, he did an interview. You can find it on the internet. And then all of a sudden, George became enthralled with it. And today he is like the leading investigative journalist in ufology. In fact, he was on Coast to Coast before George Nuri.
Wow.
After Art Bell, then it went George Knapp, George Nuri, right? So she kind of fashioned her career after this man because while living in Michigan, she also took elective courses in the arts and folklore and culture because she knew living in Michigan, she did not live too far from Wexford, Michigan, and knew about the Michigan Dogman back in 1987. So she was always intrigued by monsters and these cryptids, most particularly Dogman. She became obsessed with Dogman. So she graduated from college and she spent 3 years in Michigan. And she got a job at a local, well, she lived in Michigan through 3-year career in Michigan, I should say. She went from job to job, getting different journalistic jobs, different TV jobs, and learned. And she goes, Rob, it's funny. I was a job hopper, but unlike a lot of jobs in journalism, I guess it's good to be a job hopper because usually every job is different and it builds up your resume because you've experienced, because it's such a big field, you need to know everything. So she spent 3 years and then she applied to a job in Wisconsin to move out of Michigan to move on. Because again, another part of these journalists is you go from different states before you finally get your foot in the door firmly, right? So there's a job opening at a small public TV opportunity in Wisconsin. She took the job, went there, and she moved to Wisconsin. And the job was really cool because she did everything. She did all the editing, all the producing. She ran the entire show, which was great, a great feather in the cap, except for her dream of being in back of the microphone in front of a television audience, right? And so she got to be friends with, her boss, and she started telling her boss about how she was very interested in the Dogman of Michigan. And it just went on and on about her infatuation. And then this is right around 2008, I believe. And then the producer said, hey, there's a friend of mine I'm going to introduce you to because I think you would hit it off and she's got great information. And she's like, cool, I'd like to meet this woman. So a week later, the boss got her together with Linda Godfrey.
That's cool.
Which was sweet. She goes, Linda, she works for me, and this lady's all about the Michigan Dogman. And as everybody knows, Linda Godfrey, her claim to fame was the Beast of Bray Road. So now Sarah never knew about Linda Godfrey. In fact, she met Linda and was very embarrassed. Did not know about the Beast of Bray Road or any of the cryptid dogmans in Wisconsin. So they had a nice couple-hour chat. Linda filled her in about what she knew about Dogman, the Beast of Bray Road, and she said, hey, listen, if you're interested in that, you're in the right state. Gave her some suggestions. So that was that. Met her, wished her good day, and thank you so much for the information. And Linda gave her the name of a man that could help her because Sarah was not going in the woods alone, not hiking. I mean, she needed a man or guide to accompany her, right?
Right.
So all of her off time, away from her job, she would now explore Bray Road. She said she would drive up and down Bray Road, go into the surrounding wooded areas along Bray Road. Never came up with anything, and then she got more bold, and she got with this guy Steve, who was a tracker. And she actually went deep into the woods of Wisconsin, looking outside of Bray Road. So she's now like all over the forest. She did this for 2 years, you guys, and came up empty. She says, not a clue, not even a howl, not even a remotely odd sound. So she's thinking to herself, am I chasing a myth? I believe in Linda Godfrey when she told me. And during this time also, you guys, she would also interview locals who would, tell her their stories about the Beast of Bray Road and other things. So, yes, I believed in Linda and I believed in what the people were telling me, but 2 years researching and looking empty. So she got a little upset with herself for thinking that she's going after a non existent creature. So she says, well, it's time to move back to Michigan. So she looked for some jobs in Michigan, landed a job in Michigan before she left Wisconsin and came back to Wisconsin. So for that first year in Michigan, she did nothing with the Dogman. She forgot about it, did no research. She just concentrated on her career as a journalist. Within that 1 year time period, she met her husband. Eventually, her eventual husband, his name was John. They hit it off. They got married. And the thing about John was an avid Bigfoot enthusiast, right? He searched for Bigfoot. And again, like Sarah, he never came up with evidence, but he loved Bigfoot. So they immediately hit it off. And John lived close to Wexford, Michigan, again, and also the Manistee National Forest. So, 1 year they married, they wed, and they moved to They moved to the Manistee National Forest in Wexford. They moved actually in the woods, right? So Sarah says, "Hey, because the husband John had a great job. He was an executive for an insurance company or in the healthcare business. So the guy had a great job." And she asked the husband, "Hey, look, I want to rekindle my relationship, or not my relationship, but my fascination with Dogman. We live in Wexford. We live in the Manistee Forest where Dogman roams. I want to start looking. And do you mind, John, if I take a leave of absence from work or retire? You make enough money." John is like gung ho. He goes, "Hey, honey, absolutely." And in fact, he says, "I got some friends, Bill and Todd, that are very big into this as well, and they can accompany you on your trips because John still working, couldn't go every time she went out." So Sarah goes about researching, and she spent 15 months on and off with her husband John, but it was always Bill and Todd by her side. And again, 15 months go by off and on for a stretch of 15 months, camping for a couple of weekends, maybe a week here and there. But again, nothing. And again, am I chasing a myth? And she's about ready to hang it up. So the husband, John, says, "Look, don't give up on it. Here's what we'll do. I'm going to take a leave of absence from work, and I'll get with Bill and Todd, and we're going to spend a month in the woods," which ended up being 3 weeks.
Wow.
So they bought a 13-foot tractor trailer, where you could sleep, where you could sleep in it. But as well as that, though, they also got a big army tent, and not the pop up ones we buy at Walmart. I mean, it was an army tent, where you could go in it when it rained, not get wet, made of the good nylon or whatever, canvas. Slept like 8 people, so it was very comfortable. So it was like they set up a base camp. It was kind of like a research center, right? Because they had the trailer tractor, and they even had computers in there, a lot of tracking devices. So it was pretty cool. I mean, I could imagine, doing that. You guys would love that. We'd all would love that, right? So they set it up, and they're in the woods. And they went to a location where, according to the most recent data, is where these dogmen were seen or found. So they got an area kind of close, and they think that they were in an area where you weren't even supposed to camp. Okay, well, off limits, but they did it anyways. So 5 days go by, and again, there's nothing. On the end of the 5th day, though, as they're traveling through the trails, they had seen what could have been possible Bigfoot evidence. They found some structures that we all hear about all the time. Some tree breaks that weren't natural. It wasn't breaks from Mother Nature, and they were higher up in the trees where they looked like they were snapped and twisted, very new saplings. So Bill had suggested, well, maybe we're not in Bigfoot territory, but maybe we're coming. Maybe we're in the maybe we're in a Bigfoot area, not Dogman area. Excuse me. So, well, that's better than nothing, yeah, because they're all getting excited about that. And so that 5th day ends, and the 6th day, the night of the 6th day, Sarah decides not to sleep because she was sleeping in the tractor trailer and the men were in the tent, but she decided, you know what, I'm gonna sleep out in the tent tonight with the boys, with the husband and the 2 friends. Big spacious tent, as I said, sleep like 8 people. So they're out, they put their fire aside, they all turn in for the night's sleep. They all go in the tent, they turn in. Now, Mary says that, or Sarah, I don't know why I'm saying Mary, probably because Mary gave me the super chat. Hey, all right. So Sarah, they all fall asleep. Now, Sarah says she starts having these odd dreams. Her dreams were of werewolves. They were of disfigured human bodies, very scary, ghastly stuff, right? And then she starts hearing these howls and screams, very blood curdling, you know, and they're very vivid. And then she happens to wake up, but she realizes she wasn't sleeping. This was actually going on outside the tent. So Bill and Todd had already gotten up, and so she went to her husband John, and she's shaking John to wake him up, right? But John won't wake up. Then she got very scared. Oh my God, what's up with John? But now he's breathing, he's alive, but he just is in this deep, deep sleep. He can't get up. Bill and Todd, on the other hand, are at the front of the tent, and they happen to open the enclosure or enclosure, whatever you want to call it, of the tent, and they look out and they say, oh my Lord. And they say, Sarah, come quick to the front. They look outside the tent, and there's these 3 wolf-like human beings. She describes it as 3 powerful men draped in black hair, and they had big mongoloid oversized wolf's heads, and there's 3 of them, and they're parading around in a circle. And what's in the center of the circle is a totem pole, and on the totem pole, strapped to the totem pole, from what they could see, was that of a disfigured human being, much like the disfigured dream that she supposedly was having, right? But it was transparent. She says the 3 dog men were very solid, very real. The totem pole, the figure on the totem pole, it was like, you know, translucent. It was not there, but it was there, right? And then she notices that these 3 dog men, werewolf men, whatever you want to call them, they're chanting. They're chanting a chant which was native to them. They did not understand what they were saying. It was verbalized. They were talking about it, and they can't. And the 3 of them are trying to figure this out, and they're circling this totem pole. In the meanwhile, they forgot about poor John. But now John all of a sudden gets up, and Sarah's like, "Oh my God, John, I'm sorry." So John is now standing up in the back of the tent, and she runs over to her husband, and so does Bill and Todd, and they kind of zip up the tent, and they're okay. We're gonna put these dog people on hold, see what's up with John. But John is standing there in a trance, and he's not awake. But now he starts to talk. At first, he started talking in a very graveled, disheveled voice, much like the dogman outside the tent, but they can't make out what he's saying. It's very, again, native tongue, right? But then all of a sudden it came through more clearly, and he utters the words that they clearly make out, and it says, I had to write this down. And John says, the husband, in this trance, it was almost like he was possessed, you guys, according to the wife. And he utters, this land, this is cursed land. Stop seeking what you seek. Again, this is cursed land. Stop seeking what you seek. And then John now falls to the bottom of the tent, and all of a sudden he wakes up, snaps out of it, and he says to his wife, "What's going on? What happened?" And she's like, "John, honey, just hang on," because now they realize they got to go back to the front of the tent and see what the hell's going on with these three Dogman people, the totem pole with this body of a person on it, right? Unzip the tent, they look out, nothing's there. Gone. Vanished, nothing.
Wow.
So they're all sitting around contemplating what happened. First of all, asking John if he's okay. John has no recollection of anything, not what he said. I mean, his mind is a total blank at a loss. Sarah, Bill, and Todd seen what they saw, and then they kind of get their wares together. They got really frightened, really freaked out, and they decided, hey, we're in cursed land or something. I don't know how to figure this out, but they, of course, freak. I think most of us would freak, and they split. And then she goes home with John and Bill and Todd. They get home, and then she says in her final words to me was, "Yeah, unfortunately, ever since that experience, I lost my passion for the Dogman. I wish that I never had this obsession." She thinks that she brought this upon herself, conjured up something. She got in fights with the husband because the husband's starting to get some memories back, and he's having these weird nightmares. And as I said, they moved to the forest, and they kind of moved back into the suburbs. And she since has not set foot into the forest. She stopped her research for Dogman. I guess she still works in the TV local business, and that's kind of where the story ends. And I want, in conclusion, that's why I'm going to bring this up again. I said this at the beginning, and now this makes a lot more sense to me about the curse. A Native American curse in the Manistee National Forest by the Anishinaabe tribes in the 1700s stated, and again, by a chief, because the white man took their land, right? And it says again, "May the filthy spot on which your altars stand be destroyed." Kind of makes sense with that totem pole, I think, a little bit. Not symbolism. "May your crops be failures." Really not a part of that. "Your homes be dilapidated." But here's the thing, you guys. "May your dead be disturbed in their graves and be persecuted and watched over by that of the wolf. And may your land become a feeding place for the fishes." And I gotta tell you, that curse, that spell, whatever that saying is, I don't know about you guys. We said it a little bit earlier. Extremely freaky. So this is something to look further into. I've looked into the Manistee National Forest. Yes, there's haunted lands, there's cursed lands. I started looking at that years ago. But to come across this story matches up with what I kind of experienced. Mine was totally different, not a curse. So I guess my thoughts are, was this not even I don't think this was Dogman, you guys. I think this was something cursed, guarded over by these wolves. I'd like to know if that was a burial ground. I'd like to know more about this. And I'd like to know the location where they're at. The Manistee Forest is so vast, you guys. East Coast, West Coast of Michigan. Boom. Millions of acres. So can't really pinpoint that. But so what's your thoughts on that?
It doesn't sound like Dogman at all to me.
No.
It has like hints of Skinwalker to me.
Okay.
Because it is taking that dark magic, demonic type turn to the story. That's literally what it sounds like to me, that they weren't dealing with that at all.
I definitely don't think it's Dogman.
No. I think that she was onto something by traveling around and trying to seek out the truth and figure out what she was dealing with, or what the stories were. And I think she found it, and they didn't want her to know.
I would agree.
I think so.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, she came across something that was not supposed to be uncovered, and they got that warning.
Right.
Because I think what happened, but again, in that spiritual element, scaring them with the disfigured person on the totem pole.
Mhm.
And maybe she did have dreams about that, then realized, whoa, I'm not dreaming.
Right.
And there's these 3 wolf type entities parading about their campsite.
I mean, it does have the Native American written all over it right there. It sure does. And I mean, you're talking about the totem pole, and then the dogmen by it, and then
Yep.
they're chanting something ritualistic
Oh,
type of chant,
absolutely.
right? And then the next thing you know, the husband gets kind of like not possessed, but kind of like taken over for a minute, a temporary possession.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
actually the other thing that freaked me out a little bit is the husband. In the onset, they can't wake him up. He's sleeping. I mean, he's alive. But the wife's shaking him, and he's just sleeping on the floor.
So how is he
Yeah,
today? Do you know how is he doing?
well, she said everyone's fine. I mean, the thing, I don't know, I got the thing here somewhere. And she says at the end, we're all fine. I had some problems with the husband, blah, 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 blah. We since moved to the suburbs. We're still married, and I'm about doing my career in local television journalism. Some place up north
Well,
somewhere.
I believe when she tried to wake up her husband, he was already under the influence.
Right.
So yeah, he was already under, and there was nothing she could have done to correct that.
We've all, me, I try not to watch him, but I do anyway. It reminded me of like a devil, when the guy started talking in tongues, and then all of a sudden he spoke, English, and said what he said about, leave. This is cursed land. Don't seek what you seek. Get out.
Right.
Or you will be, something will happen to you, or whatever, to that effect. I think that reminded me of like, when you see some of these like, possession movies where the priest is in there doing the exorcism, and then he gets demon to speak. It was kind of reminding me of that.
Thank you, 86.
Thanks, 86.
Thank you so much, 86. Kind of, I'm not talking demonic possession, but man, it's got a lot of similar traits, is it not? I mean, in a way.
Well, it sounds like I said, a temporary hijacking is what I would call it, because it's not an absolute possession. It is just like, hey, we're going to use your body for a minute. Thanks. It's a temporary thing.
So when you say that, what about it was like, okay, what would that mean? A temporary hijacking? This something entered his being, his body.
Yes.
And with him being asleep to begin with, he was in a very vulnerable state. We all know that being asleep is where we're most vulnerable, because we're not, we don't have our guards up. That's where our guards come down. And I think that at that point, it was easy just for something to hop in and say what they had to say, and then hop out.
Mm-hmm.
My thoughts was, until she did kind of say the husband was fine. What I'm looking at, yeah, okay, she is okay. I was so this was like you say, a temporary thing. It was like in and out, make your point. We're not going to take over your soul,
right? Because they didn't have any protections there with them. They were just outside sleeping in a tent. They didn't have anything around them or anything to protect them while they slept.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been easy for something. So it's like something a little bit more on the nasty side. Absolutely, it'd have been super easy. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So did the husband, you might have said it, I might not have heard, did he remember anything?
The only thing that I remember was when he he said his thing at the tent, then he fell to the ground, woke up, and he says, what's going on? What happened? And then
he missed the whole entire thing.
Yeah, so they checked, and all the entities were gone. And he said, hey, honey, Sarah, hey, says to John, hey, honey, this is what just happened. Here's what you said. And he had no recollection of any of that.
Wow.
Okay, so he missed
somebody being jumped Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
a
he would
paranormal thing that would happen to
definitely.
him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me tell y'all what happened tonight. This is honest God's true story, and there's people in chat that were watching Paranormal Paul's show. And BMR, you are on there too, you might remember. But there's about 7 minutes of tonight's show that Paranormal Paul doesn't remember. He was like in a trance.
On the show? I don't know
On
if
the
I've
show.
seen
Oh
that.
my gosh, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
We were talking, actually, we started talking about a little bit on the darker side of what's that, Malvern? Yeah.
Really quickly, Lolo, was it his voice? No, in the beginning, it was a rumbling, gruff voice, and he spoke in a native language. And then when he enunciated the statement, it was more of his voice, but still kind of raveling, but not of a native tongue.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But man, that's crazy. I'd freak out.
Yeah,
I
it
gotta
was.
go, I gotta replay
Weird
it. I gotta
because-
go.
Well, he really didn't say a whole lot, and I didn't really think much anyway because like Josh is a personal friend of mine, so it was like we were just BSing and talking,
Yeah.
and so and then after that Paul kind of came out of it, and he's like, oh my God, you'll have to go watch it there's for 7 minutes. So then I text him are you sure you're okay? And he said he was. So that was weird.
Oh,
It was
man.
in some sort of a weird, I don't know. I didn't realize it while it was going on. It was after, and he come out of it. He said he don't remember the last 7 minutes.
That's concerning.
Yeah, and Amy said, I was wondering why Paul went silent for so long. Very strange. I just consider it because it was me running my mouth. I really, honestly, I didn't,
Well, and we do that because we have friends all over this community, other communities. I mean, we've got friends everywhere, and when we get on sometimes with a show with some of our friends, we do have a tendency to run our mouths. It's what we do. It's what we do.
Kind of what we do, right?
And I could see where Paul would kind of sit back and just listen,
right, and he's done that. Yeah.
Yeah. Paul on his show, I watch his shows too, and he's kind of like that. He'll sit back and not say nothing for a while, but he's cognizant. I mean, I got to see what his facial feature. I got to really focus in on his expression for that 7 minute.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Go back and watch it.
No, I will.
I'm gonna check that out. Because before this show, I hadn't talked anything like paranormal all day long, which is unusual for me because usually it's every day. It's like, hey, you want to talk ghosts? You want to talk Bigfoot? Yeah, I'm here for you. I'll talk about it every day. Today, of course, Tex and I did kind of an impromptu on the whole monkey thing, and I'm not getting into it because I'm really upset about it. I'm really mad about it.
Yeah, I know you were. I don't want to. Yeah,
I'm not going there. But I haven't talked about it all day.
I was out in line at Walmart listening on my phone, watching it. Yeah. That's another topic, and that's disturbing. It's not cool.
Yeah.
But
my point that I was getting at is I hadn't talked paranormal all day, and I took my nap and I slept very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? I mean, I wasn't giving anything any energy today.
I must tell you guys, now that you bring that up, I will bring this up because I'm on 3 days a week. You guys 2, 3, really. I mean, you have 3. You're on 3 times, and
4, 5, 6.
But we're all on. Then we bounce around everyone's shows. It's like we're always on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny you would say that. Well, first of all, I love doing the shows, and it's a great high for me, natural high. But I will tell you though, every time I do a show, that when I go to sleep, it takes me forever to fall asleep. If there's a time where I miss a show because for whatever reason, and I'm totally disassociated for the full 24-hour day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not with Brandy and Krista. I'm not with Rob. I'm not with Tex. That day's sleep is like almost peaceful.
It is
because this stuff just runs on our brains. Are always they need rest, right?
We're not giving it energy, and that's the whole thing. We are not giving these things energy you know, because it not only, you know, gives us that, I don't want to call it ADHD or ADD or whatever, but it makes our minds roll because we in this community are constantly, well, what if this, or what if they do this, or, you
Yeah.
know, because we've heard this, does it mean this, or, you know, constantly questioning what's happening out there because we want to know the truth. But today I was talking about just stuff in the news, and I slept better than I ever have,
Yeah.
you know, in a long time. And I think that, like I said, it's just we are not giving these spirits energies. They're not feeding from us because we're not giving it to them.
You have to learn to shut it off. You
Yeah.
have
Yeah. And definitely I had it shut off today. I was
And like,
it's like,
and like I always say at the beginning of, you know, whenever I start a show, we're pretty much on 7 days a week, everybody,
yes.
because we pretty much are.
pretty much that we are.
And I tell you, and I must say, I'm not lying when you say it makes so much sense because I'm like running, like I'm just always like hyper
Mhm.
aggressive, you know, and I don't mean aggressive in a bad way. I'm just always doing this, that, and running around all over. Oh, I got to show this. I got to learn this. I got to read this, and then I got to do this, that, and the other. And you don't have time to relax. You're always thinking about this stuff. And then when I go to bed, before bed, you know what I have on TV? Weird paranormal shit.
We listen to Killing. Me and Brandy do.
Yeah, we do the ID channel.
Yeah. I love that channel. I used to watch. I like the. I found this new on Netflix, L.A. Murders. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, and I watched that. You know,
I'm watching 48 Hours now.
I've
You
seen
know,
all the,
I've almost run the gamut on 48 Hours.
I've seen every 48.
too.
The first 48, I've seen every single one of them. I know I've seen every single one. By the fourth time around, I know exactly what the guy's going to say, who the killer is, you know?
Right. You already know. I mean,
and I tell you, I was like that with the Forensic Files. That's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, they've got shows from 1997 on cable.
Yeah,
and I know I've seen them all. That's the original.
Oh yeah, that's seriously like when we travel, like we call it killing. Well, time for bed. Let's put killing on, and that's what we
put
do.
the killing on. That's what we say. Put the killing on. You know.
And we're moving away from cryptids to the paranormal. Let's watch some serial killers, some murder.
Right. We give our minds a break.
You know, we're still our brains are still creeped out.
Technically, you know, if we were smart, we would put on something like Friends or, you know, something
lighthearted, fictitious, you know, whatever. I mean,
you know what? I've moved tried.
On to Paula. Yeah, I've moved on to Paula Zahn now.
You know, well, you know what I do? I try to go to some comedic thing and it bores me, and I go on back to my old show. But what I do, I finally found something. You know, we all love food.
Oh yeah.
I will watch. You know. Guys, I'm keeping my man's card, but I'll watch the women cooking channels. I'll get recipes, but I'll also will watch the dude with the blonde hair.
I don't know.
Diners, drive-ins, diners. And
yeah. I know who you're talking about. He's got the white hair.
Yeah.
I like that. I'll watch that. I bottom line is I watch food-related shows now.
I think Amy has a good idea here. She says y'all need to watch lots of funny, cute kitten videos. Maybe we do.
The problem about that, Amy, is I told you guys a story about the dude that was the murderer, and I found his young boy skinned cats in the creek. Right back to his house.
See, you've got to get into that. Oh, that's cute. Instead of, oh, you know what? There was a serial killer that, you got to get out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch dogs and cats and birds and horses and cows. And I do watch those because, you know, I mean, they're cute. They're fluffy. You know, you're like, okay, fine. Or you're like this. Yeah. Hey, I owned an animal like that.
I was watching a video of a cute little puppy, cutest thing as can be, and I'm how adorable. Then it turned into a monster and bit off the chick's head. I'm kind of making that up, but I run into stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, because we have that curiosity. Not
Yeah.
everybody does.
Right.
I mean, I know a lot of people in this community have that curiosity. It's like just because we're going to sleep or sitting down to watch TV doesn't mean it stops.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
one of those people that like I could turn on Friday the 13th, sit down in front of it and watch it and be home alone and it not.
Oh
scary.
yeah. Well,
Right. So even when I'm not watching true crime, then I'll sit down and I'll watch NCIS or something like that. So it's something still dealing with the same thing, It's just like, oh, come on, let's move on.
Just like today, we'll end this show. It'll be around 2 a.m. for me, my time, and you think I'm gonna go to bed. I'll be up till 4 a.m. Number one, I'll be wired from this show,
Right.
and it'll take me a while to come down from that. Then I'll go sit by the TV. And I'm going to turn something creepy on, paranormal or whatever, and I'll watch that.
Oh, Chris and I have a ritual. I mean, Friday night, we know what we're doing right after the show. There was one particular YouTube group that we watch, which is Paranormal Nightmare, every Friday night.
Love this stuff.
It's like, okay, we got to get off here. We got to go watch the show. Chris is like, yep. So we both get off and we go watch the show. But I get it, Rob. It's a terrible thing. We're stuck. We're stuck.
We're like in this loop.
Yes.
That keeps replaying over and over and over again. Which I'm cool with it, but I think that, and I've seen a lot of people in chat are saying, you guys sometimes just need to chill for a whole day.
I did today. I did.
And you did, and you felt great.
I felt great. It was nice to get that peaceful spot, and I wasn't sleeping all day after that show I did. I did my chores, but I did not think about any of that, which was really weird.
Yeah.
I think we all have to take a step back sometimes.
Yeah, we do, because, as you all know, I do shows just a few nights a week, and the nights that I don't do a show, that's my family night. I don't think paranormal. I don't, it's time to spend.
That's why Tuesday night is that for me. Tuesday night is when I don't do anything. I don't do shows. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
Because that's the only night that I have off.
But I will tell you this, though. I mean, I kind of maybe misspoke just a bit. In the wintertime, I don't do nothing Sundays. I watch football on Sunday.
And that's good. You should.
And I'm not even on our group texts. I don't even answer that.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Which is cool. And let me ask you, we talked about these curses and stuff. And you guys, honestly, I think over Halloween, we talk about witchcraft and dark magic. So do you believe, though, and we always get it from these First Nations, Indians, and I came up with something that a curse by an actual non-Native American, like a cowboy put a curse on some land. I gotta find that. But do you think that curses are put on people and land? I mean, a curse. Like if I had a book of spells.
People can put, absolutely. Yeah. People can put curses on other people.
You think people can do that?
Yes, and I think they do.
Yeah, I do. But I also have this theory. I think that if you have I don't know, a certain personality, like a very alpha personality, you can say, "Hey, I'm going to put a curse on you and your family and your land." Even though I'm really not, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but I have that personality to make you believe that's going to happen. You yourself are going to manifest, and the next thing you know, your family does. Your land has a curse. Everything has a curse now because you manifested because of what somebody else had said. I think that can happen also. You can actually manifest your own bad luck.
I think also, too, that a lot of people, I guess for lack of a better word, I'll call them like worry warts.
That's it.
You ever have these people always worried about getting cancer, getting sick.
Yeah.
Something bad's going to happen. And these people, it's all they think all day long and they could be in the best of health. Don't drink,
Yep.
don't smoke, don't do any
Anxiety.
drugs.
Yeah.
But they keep
Yes.
worrying about getting this. And you know what? One day they got something for no apparent reason. I think that our mind is powerful enough to create
Yes.
things. I
Yes.
believe that.
Yeah. Yep. And then, you were talking about that a lot of that's anxiety, people thinking they have this or that, or,
Yeah. I believe a lot of this is we bring on ourselves, or when it does happen, then we say, oh, because so-and-so said it, they put a curse on us.
Right.
So that's what they've given us, when it's something that had really nothing to do with them, that it was just going to happen anyway. And just because somebody said it, now all of a sudden we're going to blame it on them.
Right.
Isn't that kind of like gaslighting? It's like all your fault.
Mhm.
Blame it on somebody else. Yeah, but no, I think a lot of it, I do believe that it can happen. I do believe that people can put curses on things, and I do believe, really. And but I also believe that it's part of our own minds sometimes, that we've manifested it ourselves, for sure.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thanks, Maggie. Thanks
you,
so much,
Maggie.
Maggie.
I also believe too, and this is just my own personal opinion, I don't know, but I feel like, when I go to a haunted location, I put up a shield, it's an invisible shield that I put up myself, and I keep my shield on me pretty well. And I feel like, say someone was trying to put a curse on me or something, I feel like it'll bounce off of me. I'm protected, and I think a lot of that goes back to intention, the big word, because, in my head, I'm protected from evil and, things like that. So I know I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Because intention, like you said, Krista, is a big word. Big word.
Yep.
Do you guys think that's reflecting back to this original story, but maybe even prior to that? We always talk a lot about werewolves and dogmen. Do you think that there's any truth to some people being cursed and changed and be made a shapeshifter, or made a skinwalker? Do you think that? I think the skinwalker is a curse that was put on a person. Is that correct? From what I remember, or the werewolf certainly is a curse that was put on a human being back in the folklore.
I almost, from everything that I've read, I'm not sure exactly what I believe. If it was a curse put on somebody, or it's somebody asking for something they shouldn't have. They were asking for power, this, that, and the other, for revenge or whatever other reason. Which, again, they would have to ask a demon or something else to grant them these things. Like I said, there's a whole lot of folklore to it, and it's like you got to dig through it. But it's like, how many stories have we heard of people doing deals with the devil?
Right.
There's got to be some truth to it. There's got to be truth to it.
I believe there are deals with, especially a lot of, and I don't want to get political or nothing, but in politics, Hollywood, all of that, a lot of it.
I do.
Yeah, I think that
Absolutely.
a lot of these people have made deals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
sold their soul for what they have.
I always bring up what's the guy's name, the blues guitar player. I always forget his name, Johnny Tucker.
I know who you're talking about.
The Crossroads.
The Crossroads.
Yeah.
The guy could not play a lick of guitar, and he would be at these speakeasies or at these establishments outside. He'd have his little hat out there trying to get a buck thrown in, and he could not play the guitar for a lick. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Terrible. They knew him. He was terrible. And he goes to the Crossroads. Robert Johnson disappears for a few days. Thanks, T-Bone. Then he shows up, and the guy was a genius guitar player.
Right.
And it's something you don't learn in 2 days. You got it. I mean, I get it if you're talented, but if you're talented, you got it from the onset.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what happened? And then he died not too long after he got that gift.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And he made that deal with the devil. So, the devil got his soul. So is your, 15 minutes technically of fame and fortune worth eternity. To me, it's not.
No,
He didn't
absolutely
live.
not.
The guy didn't live long enough to spend any of the money. That I don't even know if he died broke or made any money off that. I have no idea.
Yeah. I believe there's a lot of people in Hollywood too that the same thing. You know, Hollywood stars, you know,
Right.
things like
Right.
that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you know what, Chris, you know, you're absolutely true, because I don't want to get into this either, but
Yeah.
the whole thing that's going on in the whole music scene right now with everything, these actors, these singers, they're all coming to meet their judgment right now on earth, is basically what's happening. Not in life or death, but in their livelihoods, everything that made them who they are, and they're going to go down in masses. It's not just one or two people. You're talking a mass of people that are going to go down for this.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if like the devil's like, okay, I'm done with all of you. You know, you've done all you can do. Now let's get rid of you, get you out of the scene, and let's work on the next generation. Let's work on the next generation of actors and singers and things like that. I wonder if that's what's happening. It makes you wonder, because they had to sell their souls.
Right. I agree.
Because some of them, they're not even easy to look at. You know what I mean? They're not even easy to look at, and people love them. And I'm like,
Man,
you had to have sold your soul. You had to have.
There are some people out there that are just beloved in Hollywood that
Yes.
on a scale of 1 to 10 or a 2.
Right. And they have I watch things about where people talk about their waitresses or waiters or working at hotels or whatever, and they deal with these people on a daily basis, and they'll give you the skinny on who's horrible.
Yeah.
That they'll come right out and say, well, I saw so-and-so, and this is our conversation, and this is how they treated me. And I'm like, there's no reason to treat anybody like that. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you got $1 billion and then the person you're talking to is making minimum wage. You don't talk to that person with an attitude.
And if you noticed over the last decade or so, all of the big billionaire movie and music moguls are now paying the piper.
Yep.
And getting found out for their dirty deeds.
Yes. Because they're all telling on each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. They're all telling on each other.
Yep.
And I mean, it's all coming, because they were even talking a little bit about deaths that were caused by this.
I believe that for sure. And
right.
The people that associated with P. Diddy are shaking in their boots right now about being uncovered as well.
Yes.
I heard Ashton Kutcher or whatever. He's really been in big with people.
Oh yeah, I've seen some things.
I heard and some of the Kardashians as well. So
the Kardashians, J-Lo, Beyonce, Jay-Z. I mean,
they're all gonna come down.
All of them.
Even Oprah Winfrey.
And we all know the man that got murdered in prison was not he didn't kill himself. We all know that.
Right. So how many of these people, which I think the numbers are high, how many of them do you think sold their souls? I mean, what percentage?
Boy, I gotta tell you, Brandy, I mean, I'm gonna say 25% just because I'm being nice.
Well, once they give into that temptation of overindulgence, they've already given it over.
And here's the thing that I find, and I don't find this because I'm not a multimillionaire. I'm not a billionaire. And the average actor is not a billionaire. They might have a net worth of 25 million. Okay, that's great.
Maybe if they're good.
Yeah, but hey, it's a gift that keeps playing. If you did a movie in 1980, you're getting paid today as long as they keep playing it on TV. You get a check every month, just like advertising, right? So my thing is, I think some of these people have so much money that they're, it wouldn't be me. I'm not saying I think they they buy whatever they want. They can buy the
Mhm.
best cars, dine at the best restaurants, buy the nice houses in 5 states, have a place in, the Bahamas. I think that with all the money and the luxuries, they're not held accountable for anything. And I
Mhm.
think after a while, that excitement after 10 years, I think it kind of wears off. And I think they actually, despite all their fortune and fame, I think they get bored. And I think they
Right.
have to get that new high, which I think it turns into some nefarious things, right? We've
Mhm.
heard about people buying snuff films, watching actual people get murdered.
Yeah.
For $1 million, they sell these for or more. That's
Right.
so disgusting and disgraceful.
It is.
I could never watch that.
Mm-mm.
But I think it drives. I think their brains get whack.
Well, PG just said something that I even forgot about myself. But think about this. Look at these people that looked so young for years, but all of
Yep.
a sudden they've aged like
Overnight.
Oh,
overnight.
Yeah, she's right.
I mean, because what if you wanted to be in Hollywood, what would you pray for? You would pray or not even pray for,
well, you
wish for
pray. If you're a star, you pray for your looks.
your
Mhm.
looks, your money, fame.
Yeah,
You would do all
Yeah.
that. But maybe the devil picked up that prayer and not necessarily God, and then now we've got a problem.
True.
And they don't care. So they sold their soul
Yeah.
for that.
And maybe I know we're being hard on Hollywood because we have every right to be so, but maybe a lot of these people are just so gullible that they just fell into it and didn't even know they were selling their soul
Right.
because they're so consumed with money, fame, and fortune, and that they lose all sense of reality. Because I think half these people in Hollywood have no idea. I'm not getting political, but if you look at all these people that bitched about the election, crying, Jimmy Kimmel crying. That's my point. Oprah Winfrey. I mean, I'm not getting into it. I don't want to get slammed on YouTube, but they don't live in a reality. You
Yeah.
guys all have jobs. We're making millions. The
Yeah.
election is about the man that doesn't have a job.
Right.
You
Right.
know, they're the worst. They
But
just
see,
don't get it.
like I said, we all know that demons are rare,
Yeah.
very, very rare.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean they can't have their fingers dabbling in everybody's business
And
Right.
waiting for that
and
opportunity.
waiting for all of this to, come
Mhm.
to a part where they can jump in. You know what I mean? They're just waiting for it, and
Yep.
and maybe it has, and I don't know. I mean, I do think there is something demonic. There is a demonic presence within, of course, that whole scene, wherever they East Coast, West Coast, wherever.
Yeah.
I just think that it's
I gotta-
just at its breaking point.
I have a question for you guys, and it's kind of off topic, but like they say, like Scientology, that a lot of the Hollywood people, that they practice, and they say a lot of that is evil and cultish. Could that be? You know what I'm saying? Like, do those people sell their souls to the devil, or
I never studied or looked into the Scientology thing.
I
Then I
haven't.
seen who was all involved. I'm not really well versed, but all I know is remember Leah Remini. She's the one. I love that show with the big guy.
Oh
on,
yeah, me too. Me
that
too.
was such
Yes.
a funny show. She was a great.
And I really like her. Yes.
I
Yeah,
liked
me
her a lot. And then she went to Scientology. And again, I don't know the backstory. I don't really follow. Then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, she's doing anti Scientology on every commercial you see her on. So something's going on there too, right?
Exactly.
I don't know I can't speak on. I don't know much about
Tom
it.
Cruise
but-
is a big advocate for it too, and I think John Travolta is too.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of those, and we talked about a woman a long time ago, and it was a woman with the big hair, the I call her the church lady, but when she started off, she was a very beautiful woman, and then she was in the church, and then as she got more popular and started getting her power within the church and da 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 da, to the point where she was taking over the church and it was growing. It was like her hair was like super flat, and then the crazier she got, the bigger her hair got. And this is
Right.
it's no lie. I mean, but the thing is they ended up dying in a plane crash later.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's kind of like, and I wouldn't say it was church. I thought it was more of a cult in the things that she was preaching, because she was telling people who they could marry and blah 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 this, and you can't do that, and it just reminded me of just like, wow, you know, it's like finally God came in and said, "Yep, that's not what we do here," and kind of said, "Okay," and then they went down, you know, but. I think that's just kind of what's happening to all of this right now. It's just because this is reaching farther than I ever thought it would. I thought it would be just, okay, so we have this problem. It's just going to be within the music industry, but it's not. It's everywhere. And and I think it's finally just
And it's
exploding.
going
It's
on
just
with this.
exploding.
I just kind of looked up like who actors, singers who's really into the Scientology thing.
Yes.
And, you know, either number one, the number one thing, it does go back to like all of them, most of
Right.
them
Right.
look damn good for their ages. Like, you know, for instance, you know, John Travolta. Lisa Marie Presley was one of them. I mean, it just goes on and on. The list is wow. Like,
Yeah, and look at them. They look wonderful.
and these people look fantastic. Absolutely, they do. Christopher Reeves was one. And look, so a lot of them, look how they die.
And you know, no, you're right. There's a lot that still look fabulous. You know,
Tom Cruise, as Brown Dwarf said. You know,
yeah, he still looks pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Demi Moore looks better than when she was on General Hospital, if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to admit this. I'm going to say this right now. When I was a kid, Madonna hit the scene. I did love Madonna. I'm going to admit it right now. Like a virgin, you know. I thought she was
right.
I thought she was hot. I
her.
thought she looked pretty hot. And as a young guy, I was in high school. And I liked their music. I wouldn't admit it, you know, publicly, right? Today, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But my God, does she look? She's a little bit older than us.
Horrible.
She's like in her 60s.
Yeah.
She looks like a troll.
Too much plastic surgery she's had.
Oh man.
Well, she has lived a wild life, and you could read her memoirs, you could go back, watch the documentaries, you can listen to people talk about her. This woman, you know, P. Diddy, Madonna was a one-man band, let me tell you.
Yeah.
She was everywhere with, I'm just going to say with everything. So,
she had her, she lived life like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yes, so does it make sense she looks like she is now? Yeah. But she aged overnight. It was like a 5 to 6 year span where she went from, okay, she's getting a little bit older and we can see a little bit of the lines and it's okay, to, oh my God, what happened?
Holy cow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Read Donnie Cho's comment. Read Donnie's.
Oh. Donnie was still hitting that, you know. Yeah, God. I didn't mean to read that out loud, but yeah. Oh God, no.
I didn't put it on screen.
But you hear what I'm saying? It's just kind of like, it was like, yeah, there was a point where yes, she was getting to look a tad bit older, but it's kind of like the plastic surgery. It just, I just don't think it worked. I think that's what happened. I think it's botched. It's horrible. And
I'll tell you who I really, really have come to like and respect. And I don't know if you guys have seen her recently or not, but that is Pam Anderson. She is going out now makeupless.
Yeah,
she doesn't do her hair. She said because she wants people to see her and what she has done for her accomplishments, not because of her looks or her body. And honestly, I have new respect for her.
I've seen that many photos. I've seen her on some show. She looks fine to me. She don't look. She's not ugly. I mean, she looks her age.
She looks her age. She looks her age. That's
She
what she
looks
does.
her
She
age.
looks her age.
That's my
Yes.
point. But so like these people that are coming out, like her, like I think, like I said, I have all new respect for her.
Yeah.
Not all made up, and
But it makes you wonder what type of influences
right.
that we are not seeing.
Yeah, I knew
They
I
have.
should have brought up Madonna.
I just sang that in my head too.
Oh God, Grant.
There you
All
go.
right, yeah, Grant. Okay,
But I mean,
buddy.
is there something on the deep dark magic side that these people are dabbling with?
Hey.
That is creating their fame and fortune. But just with everything else, I mean,
What
time changes. Time their time runs
Father
out.
Time. I was watching some show about all these people that have these multi plastic surgeries. It gets to a point where there's so many that your bones still are going to screw up your face is going to stretch. Right. It looks tight. But that's what I wanted to say. You brought up a good point, Brandy. What if some of these people did make the deal with the devil for fame and fortune and great beauty, and they look hot as hell and all this? And what if they're getting a little older in life? They still look good. Don't get me wrong. They're still working in the movie industry. What if they decide, hey, I'm going to renege on this deal with you, Mr. Devil, or whoever it is. 30 years ago, you got me what I wanted. Let's work out a compromise. I don't want to go all the way through with this. I'm just speculating. This is hitting my mind, right? The way my mind thinks. Mm-hmm. And what if it got to the point where Mr. Devil says, or Mr. whoever, okay, you really want that? You got it. I'll grant it to you. Then all of a sudden, they lose their looks. They end up getting involved in incarcerations for all this ill will going on. I think once you sign that contract, you're not released that easily.
You don't get released from the devil. Once he's got you, he ain't letting you go.
But you got to think about it this way. I mean, even if they're not doing the deal with the devil, these people are indulging in the 7 deadly sins.
Right.
They're going to have to pay the piper. They're going to have to pay the piper. Mm-hmm. It's just going to happen eventually. So, I mean, there is that. There is that, because greed and, vanity. I mean, this is all the stuff that people in,
mm-hmm.
The Hollywood, the music scene, all of that. That's what they're looking for. Yep. And they've got to pay that eventually.
Yeah. And, the funny thing, we talk about this all the time. Back when you're 20 years old, time turning 50, 60, whatever, 70, a lot of them in their 80s. It's down the road. Who cares? I'm going to go out and party it up. Well, like I told you guys before, once I got out of high school, man, time started to go by faster. And the older I got, every decade that's gone by, it seems like it's been double. It took 100 years to get out of high school.
Yeah.
And now every year goes by like turning on the faucet and getting a glass of water.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
This show, you guys, I love, this is an awesome show, man. I really enjoyed it. I could talk about this stuff all night long, but we're going to have to, I think, bring it to a close. It's getting close for India. Yes. Before we do that, Mary Angel Magdalene, thanks for the super chat. Thanks, Maggie May, super sticker. T-Bone, thank you so much for gifting to 5 BMR Pirate memberships. Mary, thank you for being a member for 2 months. And also 86, thank you for your super chat. Maggie, thanks once again for the super sticker. I really appreciate that. Not expected, always appreciated, you guys. As you all know, love you all. Thanks for tuning on in. Hit the like button on your way out, because like helps promote the shows. Also, don't forget, if you're new, subscribe to the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, Texas Front Porch. Donnie Cho says stuff. He's in the house tonight. Go check out Donnie. Paranormal Paul, Monica Rollins, our Paranormal World. People ask, where's Monica? She's got the next 2 Saturdays off. I had to give her some time off. Hopefully we'll have all 4 of us together come Christmas time. That'd be cool. Get me with the gals over Christmas. That'd be awesome.
Sure.
This is a great show, you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's been fun. It's been fun. Yes.
A lot of fun.
Good to see
Thanks to
everybody.
everybody. Thanks to everybody. Good seeing everybody. Nice turnout tonight. Thank you so much for that. And again, I just gotta scroll through this to you know what I gotta do.
Push the button.
Find that extra. I found the extra. Thanks to Krista, Brandy. Thanks to everybody in chat. Everybody that's listening and not in the chat, you're as important as well. Without you, the show wouldn't drive. The show wouldn't drive without the other people and people that watch the replays.
Right.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Are you ready?